Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to
Cash
and
and Courage. Just kidding.
One day we'll have like some cool, like epic. I like blurry in this video.
You do look blurry. Maybe you need to be more like straight on.
I don't know. The lighting's not here. Well, I don't know. I need whatever.
We're here. You
here.
can see us. And
Welcome.
yeah, someday we will have cool intro music because Joe doesn't like my
Sounds like the discount club.
A discount club? No, that's like Sam's Club.
Not that.
You mean a disco club, not discount.
No, that's not true. Anyways.
Welcome back to another episode of Cash and Courage. We are coming to you live today with a conversation around the 4 factors that lead to 6 figures. This is another something Joe's been keeping to himself for a long time. Do you think how I throw you under the bus every time?
Like,
how does that feel?
Boom, 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 boom. It feels awesome, right? No, I had on my page say it's like the 6-figure factor. I talked about it, but I mean, in some pieces, I've never broken it down for people really. Well, I have for some people, but not like live.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So I didn't really throw them on a bus. I just called them out. So that being said, when we were talking about what are we going to talk about today, I was like, we need to talk about the 4 factors to 6 figures. Now, this obviously can be a much bigger, deeper, fuller training. And if you want a bigger, deeper, fuller training, then let us know in the comments below when we get done with this. But I thought at least you should know.
But you could, I mean, I could literally talk about this for like days. Like, I know. Literally days.
But we're not going to take days, I promise. We're going to keep this in our
15 minutes.
Yes. That sometimes goes to 20 or 30, but we're in. So Joe, what are the 4 factors? We're going to introduce you to the 4 factors, and then we're going to dive deep into each one. So what are the 4 factors that lead to 6 figures?
Well, okay, so this is what everybody gets, right? And then we'll talk about each one kind of like this. So everybody always focuses on a few of these factors, but they always skip out on some or don't fully dive into the last one that I like talking about, right? So there's time. So people look and say, hey, I don't have enough time around business, and they'll look at their businesses and be like, oh, time's always an issue, right? We feel like it's a finite thing. We only have so much time to work on our businesses. If you're a side hustler, there's even less time, right? So time's a big factor.
Can I back this up for just a second? So when we talk about the 4 factors, these are the 4 components or pillars that go into building a business that makes 6 figures, okay? These are the kind of like requirements would be another word. These are requirements that go into building 6 figures. So that being the baseline of what we mean by 4 factors. Okay?
Oh, yeah. I guess
these are the 4 pillars of foundation of a powerful foundation for a 6-figure plus business. And that, you guys, can we just be honest for a second? Whether you want to make 6 figures a year, 6 figures a month, or 6 figures a day, these factors are all part of the formula process.
You just stole my thunder.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
There you go. I was going to say the same thing.
I just wanted to get us on the same page.
No, I'm with
we
you.
just jumped right in and I was like, wait, let's back up.
Yeah, but I agree, right? So like I literally call this the 6-figure factor, right? And these are the 4 factors that go into it. And everybody, like I talk to people sometimes and they start saying, well, that's cool, but I make more than, my business already makes like 200, 300,000. I'm like, well, you're not getting the concept of this, right? I didn't say it's how to make a 6-figure a year business, right? Do you want a 6-figure transaction, right? It's all the same concept. The concept's the same, and that's what people don't understand about money, right? The way we think about it, the way we interact with it, the way we approach it in life, it's not just so that we can make like 6 figures in a year, right? And that's plain small for some people. Or let's ramp it up. It's not so we can make $1 million of revenue in our business, right? But these small little pieces make up so much of our life, and we can apply these same principles not only to making money in our business, but to all other aspects of our life.
Okay, so let's get into that.
So anyways.
Because I'm like, you just went to level 100.
I know, so let's bring it back. Let's tell you what they are.
Let's bring it up. So we have these 4 factors to build 6 figures into your business, whether that's a year, month, or day.
We're back. So one of them is time, right? So time is just understanding.
Factor number 1.
How much time do we have in our lives? How much time can we appropriate towards our business? How can we leverage the time we have, right? People do that really well. There's time hacks out there.
I actually think that concept of leveraging time is really powerful when it comes to time, because you have people that advocate for the 8-hour workday, for the 4-hour workday, for the 1-hour workday. And really, it comes down to your relationship with time and how you can leverage time to create the income in the business that you desire.
Yep. So which leads me into number 2. Number 2 is team, right? When we start to run out of time, right, you can leverage it so much, but at some point you need help, right? So people do this really well. They'll hire people, even if it's like, if you're a small business, they'll hire like virtual assistants We hire contractors to help with our stuff.
By the way, we love virtual assistants. Virtual experts
to
Kathy Guggenauer and her team, the virtual expert team. You guys, if you need good, I didn't mean to make this a little infomercial, but while we're here talking about team, if you need great virtual experts, and they aren't just assistants, these people are experts. We had a chance to be in the room with them a few months ago, and I was blown away by their knowledge and capacity. So team is super, super important when you're trying to get back your time. When you're like, I don't want it to be a 20-hour workday. You need to start looking at teams. So,
yeah, so we'll keep going. Yeah, so team's awesome, and obviously they're and I'm not going to tell you when it's good to go find team and not. That's some business coach can help you with that. At some point in your business, and you start to get too much, like if there's too much on your plate, it's time to hire people to help you.
I'll tell you when. When it feels in alignment with you. When you've run out of time, it's that balancing between income and time, where the money's coming in and the time is running out, and you've got to kind of make that leap between the two and invest some money into people so that you can get back more of your time and generate more income. Okay, so that's a good thing to look at, but it needs to be aligned to you and your business. Just like how you prioritize your time, team needs to be prioritized by you, not by what standards say. You need to be looking at you and your business.
Yeah,
okay?
I was in line with stuff. The last of the three that usually are outside of what I teach, right, is tactics, right? So you're looking for a business coach, someone who can help you with the strategy and tactics of what you need to do next, right?
Because you've got to have something. Do you remember running World Tree in the beginning?
Oh my gosh, it was such a train wreck. Well, I was hold on.
Okay.
Even from that, if we go back, so we started computer technology.
Ooh, that's right, in our early 20s.
Yeah, like way back, like this is over 10 years ago, right? We were doing
actor consulting. We were doing consulting, like tech work for small businesses.
Technology consulting for small businesses.
Yeah.
We learned a lot, right?
We learned a ton.
But you look at that, right? We didn't have, like, we were first introduced to a business coach, right? Because of a group we were part of.
Yeah.
I'm like, who needs this business? Who needs to pay $1,000 for a business coach? We're just gonna like do this stuff and we'll make money, right? And it was a train wreck.
It wasn't a total train wreck, but it felt like a train wreck.
No, it was pretty much a total train wreck. Like,
we were making money, but never enough to actually bring people home full time. But that's a whole other.
Yeah. Anyway, so we skipped out on that tactic piece, right? So we've had experience with this, and it's important. So if you don't have somebody help you with tactics, it's really important that you find somebody.
And again, I'm going to plug. Sorry, you guys, you're going to hear me this every time. Alignment. Like it needs to, and I'm not talking about feel good, cotton candy. Oh, do I like it? Do I not like it? I'm talking about like in your soul, in your highest person, with your highest power, you are determining if something is in alignment with you. Because something I see in strategies and tactics right now is that everything is aligned to what I would call an essence of autonomy or an essence of pattern. So in my world, when I'm looking at like your core kind of soul DNA of what impacts you and rules your decision making, there's a lot on the hustle, and a lot on the plan. And we're not making room for some of the other, 5 essences in the middle that approach business and approach life a different way. So when it comes to looking at strategy, there are many different ways to make income in your business. And I'm going to encourage you, when you're looking at strategy, to choose things that are in alignment with you and not try to, don't get down on yourself when you try to duplicate someone else and it's not working for you. And you're like, I must be broken because it's working for them. No, it's probably just aligned to them and you're trying to duplicate that and it doesn't feel good to your soul. So know that that's an aspect of business as well, and strategy is alignment. Not fluff and feel good, honest to grandma, true to the core, alignment with self and highest power. That's what we're looking for in all aspects of the factors.
Yep.
Okay.
So these are all really good, right?
So we have time, team, tactics, and then we have this one.
So number four is where I focus like 100% of my efforts on, right? Which is transformation. So transformation is important for all of us, right? Because if we're not going to transform, if we're not going to grow, then it's going to be really hard for us. Our businesses will crush us, honestly. Like, I think that's one thing we took away from, even like we were talking our computer consulting business way back in the early 2000s. Like, we weren't growing with it. We didn't get the people in place that we needed to. We didn't get ourselves in place. Issues with us. And then life fell apart and there's a lot of stuff that happened there. But even looking at that, and then fast forward years, right, when we did our next business with WorldTree, like there were some other things we tried, and we're in that growth state.
We had actually started personal development work and therapy before we started business. And I don't know that we did that on purpose, but in going through personal development and therapy, we realized that there were bigger, greater things for us out there in the world than the 9 to 5. And that's us. That's us. That's not everybody. That's us. And so we realized that there was some growth and some change and transformation that needed to happen. So when we say transformation, that's mindset, that's soul work, that's getting the shit out of the way so that you can see more clearly. Okay. And why, Joe, is the transfer? Because we have the 4 factors. So time, team, tactics, transformation. Why do you put such an emphasis on transformation?
The emphasis comes there mostly because here's the deal. If we're not growing with our businesses, again, like I said earlier, our businesses will crush us. If we're not taking care of our money stories, if we're not taking care of our personal value, our personal value problems, right? If we're not looking at empowering ourselves, right? For after we take care of these, if we're not looking at empowering ourselves, there's an issue there. If we're not looking at the other resources we have in life to leverage those as well as we're leveraging time, we start to run into problems. We start to run into blocks. And what happens when things start to get hard in business, right? We stop. Because what happens is these blocks come up and we stall. We lose the momentum that was taking us, right? Because a lot of times we'll get momentum in business and it'll be driving us forward and it feels really good. And then we'll hit a block and we'll start to stall. And if we're not strong enough in ourselves, right? If this transformation piece hasn't been being worked on, then we're going to crash. We're going to stop. And then it's really hard to get going again, if we ever start again at all.
And in addition to that, can I add to that? Is that what happens in our mindset impacts the other 3 categories. Okay. So how I think about myself has influence over what I do with my time, how I think about the money I'm bringing in, or how I see the people that I'm serving can impact how I prioritize the things I do through the day. Then we move into team. Like you tell me this all the time. If I have money issues without a team, what happens when I have a team?
Well, I was just going to say that, right? Like,
okay.
That's where and so I specifically focus on the money part of transformation, right? There's some other pieces, but I start there because I know it has the biggest impact to self-transformation. Right?
And it's the fastest reflector. That's what you're always telling me. He's like, you want to know how people feel about themselves? Ask them about their money.
But here's the deal. If we have money problems, right? If up here in our brains, if we're not right with money, if we're not working on that relationship, then guess what? It's really scary to hire a team because guess what? Now we have more overhead. We have money going out. Even though we're receiving services coming back, there's still money going out when inside we'd be like, I know a lot of people who are just like, oh, I could do that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't need to hire somebody. Why do I need to hire somebody? Well, because that's not what you need to be focusing on in your businesses. Building web pages, unless you're a web page like developer, that's not what you should be focusing on. Find somebody to do that, because where else are you getting distracted by doing that and not being able to focus on like sales?
Because
right?
most of the time we use those things as distractions so we don't have to do what we see as scary, which is ask for the money.
Yeah.
And the truth is, as business owners, we need to be looking at what's the one thing that I can do and that I'm responsible for that no one else can do. Like what's my, as some might say, my queen bee role? What is that role? What is it that I need to be focusing on? And how do I create an environment that allows other people to take care of that? Mm-hmm. But if I am struggling here to see my own value, my own worth, and my own ability to call cash to me, then I'm going to struggle in hiring the team, because I'm always going to be looking at, oh, that's one more dollar that's going out. That's one more paycheck I have to make. I don't have the kind of, we start freaking out about the money instead of looking at what are powerful aligned decisions.
Or we start freaking about the money, like thinking like time, right? We say, oh, we have enough time, or you start to run out of time, right? And then you start freaking out because like, I don't have the money to do X, Y, Z, or the money's running out, yes. Or right? These stories start coming up. So transformation in this whole framework is really, really important, because if we don't, again, like I said in earlier, our businesses will crush us, right? And that may not mean complete and utter failure. No, but it could mean that we start making poor decisions. Mm-hmm. We start being desperate and panicking.
Right.
That we're not brave or bold enough to do something a little bit new and different.
We elongate the struggle.
That's a good way to say it.
In my mind, I'm seeing taffy being pulled.
Oh, yeah,
right? Like when that gets in the way, then what happens is we start pulling, instead of just getting over the struggle, which would be the taffy, we elongate it and we keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling that out. So we're in the struggle for a really long time. And I think that's what wears us down, because we can do that whole, like, you know, just run into the wall a few times. Like we all have that kind of gumption that we're like, we run into the wall and we fall back down. Then we run into the wall and we fall back down. And maybe that wall gives a little bit, or that boulder gives a little bit. We're like, yeah, we're making progress. But over time, if that struggle is allowed to elongate, that's what wears us down. That's where we see people falling out of their entrepreneurship and out of their whatever endeavors that they're pursuing at this time, because the struggle has worn them down. Because they're not focused here. They're trying to move the boulder by looking at time, team, and tactics. And while there is some shifting that can help move things, the truth is you won't have the same power as if the mindset work and the transformational work is paired with all of this work in here.
That's true.
That's what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't steal your thunder, did I? No, I love you too.
But it's true, right? All these things. So when we look at it from a money perspective, and the transformation piece around money, right? We can get, that's where it kind of ties back to, like we talked about at the beginning, right? The 6-figure factor. It really is like, it allows us to, for those who are below 6 figures, it will allow you to hit that first 6 figures in business, which is a huge, huge milestone, right? It's a huge milestone in anybody's life. The hardest money to ever make is from 90,000 to 100,000. Once you can break that, it's so much easier to make more money, I promise. You start to hit upper limits when you start to get kind of towards that 7 figures, that million, because the same kind of limitations.
Did you say it's like 1, 2, 5, 10?
I've heard some people say, yeah, it's like
100,000, 200,000.
To replicate that first 100, to duplicate it. And then when you hit 500 and a million, right? There's some things in our brains in there, like when it starts looking at numbers.
Because we see
growth.
Those milestones as such big, heavy milestones.
We do.
If I can just do X, then. And so it plays some mind games with us, some tricks on us. And so watching those milestones come, it's important to be aware of them and to have the mindset training and the transformational training in place to move through them with more ease than people without.
Yeah.
Can we address for a second, what about those people who don't seem to be doing transformational work and still make money? What about them?
What about them? I mean, they're making money.
Right. So why can't I make money and not do transformational work?
Well, you can, and everybody has the right to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Those people aren't making as much as they could.
Say it one more time for the people in the back.
I knew you were going out that, but it's true. So some people, I've talked to people, right, making like that mid 6 figures, right, that 500 and more. They're like, oh, that's cool what you're doing. Hopefully you can help those people who want to hit $100,000. I'm like, no, you don't understand, right? You could be making double what you're making right now, but you're making it too hard on yourself.
So there is an element of gumption, grit and hustle. There is an element of gumption, grit, and hustle.
And action that needs to be taken. Like, right. I don't, like, I have a lot of different business coaches, see a lot of people online, they talk about this, and it's necessary, right? We need to do something, and there's going to be some grit and some learning. So and
you
some
can't have transformation without action.
Right, we're going to have some bumps and bruises along the way.
It's a part of it. So it's not that any one of these factors can replace another. It's just going, if we're looking at it, in my mind, what it looks like is you have 3 of them that are fuel. They're the logs that go on the fire to help build that roaring flame. And you have transformation that's like an accelerant, that when you pour transformation into the fire that's already been built with your prioritization of time, with having good team, and with having really good aligned strategy, like transformation just adds fuel to the fire so you can create bigger, faster, quicker results than those who are choosing not to have transformation or not to include that money conversation in the work that they're doing.
Yeah, it's true. It's like so a quick story, right, to kind of relate this back. I'll have to talk about this more. So my grandfather, my mom's dad, I'd say my favorite grandfather, but he's the only grandfather I had growing up at all.
So kind of not fair to the other ones.
He
was adorable though. As far as grandfathers go, I really liked him.
He was amazing. But just thinking about this whole analogy, right, the logs and the accelerant. So we'd go camping a lot, and he loved to fish. We'd go camping with him, And he was always, he wasn't ever a Boy Scout. He wasn't in the Army, but he was always like, I can always light a fire with one match, right? And as a kid, he always saw this, right? Because that's what Boy Scouts, if you're ever out in the wilderness, it's like, can you light a fire with one match and then, save your match with blood or whatever, blah, blah. Sometimes that's all you have, whatever. But he was always like, and he would always do it, right? And he would always like light a match and throw it in the fire, and then it would just like light up, right? His secret was that as a kid I never got, but as I got older I figured it out. He'd build the fire, put the logs all there, and then he would take a bottle of lighter fluid, right? And he would just like drench the logs, right? And then he'd take his one match and toss it on the fire, right? Fire instantly every time, right? He was a one match fire guy. Like, it's true.
That's amazing.
And that's the thing, like in your businesses, you can be too, right? But it takes the right accelerant. And that's what I'm getting at. He was able to do that every single time because he prepped what he was looking for the way he needed to. And you all can do the very exact same thing. You got to find out what tools you need and the things you need that you're missing. And that's where the gap is, because all of you are struggling. We all struggle, right? And some people will fight me on that too. And I'm like, that's okay. I struggle. You all struggle. We all struggle with different things. And it's filling that gap. It's finding that person that can help you to put that accelerant on that fire that's already burning, because you're all working. And that's the thing. You're working so hard. Now's the time to stop working as hard. It doesn't have to be as difficult as people make it out to be.
My homework over the last couple weeks is he told me, Dad, you got to get off the struggle bus. That's an old story. It's time to get off the struggle bus. Grab your little and just like get off the bus. And I was like, what? But he was right. That I've been choosing into a story of struggle, that it has to be hard in order for me to make money, or it has to be hard for it to matter. And that's old thinking. That's not going to get us where we want to go moving forward. If we really want the big things, if we really want to choose into the powerful things, then we need to start getting ourselves off the struggle bus and accepting that it doesn't have to be that hard. You've heard the adage, work smarter, not harder. And we're not saying there's not work here. We're not advocating for the like lifestyle that you can just put your feet up, work 2 minutes a day, and then have all the money coming in.
It's not about just turning, like the internet marketers go, just turn on a funnel and just let the money pour in. That's not what I'm talking about.
Time, team, tactics, aligned tactics, and transformation. But the idea is that when you start with the accelerant, or when you utilize the accelerant appropriately or helpfully, I don't know if that's a word. Healthily, not helpfully. When you use it powerfully, I'll say it that way.
There you go.
It can be such a game changer for your business, and for specifically, because we know Joe talks money, for the money that you're trying to bring in.
Yeah. So here's what we talked about this a little bit last week if you watched Cash and Courage, but I'm going to talk about it again just today as we close up, right? So if you want this accelerant in your business, right, and you want to know what this piece is, because I promise you, I know this will help. I'm offering my Money Master Playbook. Okay, so this playbook is designed specifically for you, so that you know what next steps you need to do in this transformation realm around money.
No guessing. No, maybe it's this. No getting lost in the wrong story or on the like sidewinding path, because you're like, oh yeah, this is totally my story, and it's not.
Yeah. So what I'm going to help you do is it's a 1 hour session with me where we'll dive into what your money story is. I'll give you a tool to help start to resolve that. And then I'll create a playbook for you that will give you the next 5 steps, what you need to do going after that. And then a video of like follow up and talk you through each step. But then you walk away with your very own playbook, right, of what you need to do to add this accelerant onto your business. Okay. So if you're interested, if this is something that, you've been watching me for a while, you're like, Joe, I don't think I'm ready to work one-on-one with you, but you want some time with me, this is a perfect opportunity. Okay, so I'll drop a link in the comments so you can get on my calendar, because I'm not just taking not anybody just gets to sign up with me, right? Because some people are not good candidates. So I'm going to, it's kind of like a little mini application process, right? So you got to talk with me first. We'll talk over what you're struggling with, and if I can help you with that struggle. Most people I can, but not everybody. Okay, I just want to be honest. So get on my calendar, and then we can look at next steps from there and what that would look like.
And can I be honest? If you've been watching Joe for a while and you're like, I'm not ready for Joe, I'm not ready for Joe, I'm going to tell you that that's a lie right now. And I'm going to tell you that there's a story there. See, talking about stories, there's a story there that's already holding you back from places you want to go. Because if you're saying, I'm not ready for Joe, then the question I have is, what else aren't you feeling ready for in your business? What else aren't you feeling ready for in the life that you're trying to create? What else are you saying no to, even though the universe is giving you over and over and over again exactly what you've asked for? What else are you saying no to because you're choosing into the story that I'm not ready yet?
You're choosing into the fear, right?
Choosing into the fear.
Cash and courage. Have the courage to really step out. Like, honestly, with this, these aren't sales calls. People are thinking, oh, Joe, this is a sales call. No, this is a I want to work with you call, right? Is this the right fit for you call? If it's not, it's not, right? And honestly, it's not a scary call. Like, just hop on my calendar. We can talk and have a conversation. Because guess what? There are people that I've had conversations with that I've actually referred to other people and other resources because they were a better fit. So this isn't like some high pressure thing. I'm not high pressure.
It's all about finding the right fit for you.
Because I care more about what's going to help you accelerate your business than if you're going to pay me money, right? I'm not scared about like what's coming in. You might be, but I'm not, because I'm aligned with my money relationship.
Yes, you are. It's so funny being in our home where I'm the one that's terrified and I'm the one working through my ish, and all the time I'm like, ah! Like just the other day I'm like, ah! And Joe's like, add up your numbers already, will you? And I added up my numbers. I'm like, oh, I have about $4,000 more than I thought I did. So, you guys, it is all about finding your next best step. So if you feel aligned, get on the call, have a conversation with Joe, figure it out from there, right? But it's time to figure out your money. It's time. It's time. I know you're going to talk about, this other thought keeps coming up to me. You're going to talk about that online later. So I won't steal your thunder there.
We'll talk about that. But there are things at play, right? When we talk about some things I've been noticing, right? About like what's happening in the world that isn't necessarily about money, but we behave with money the same ways, which is going to be an interesting link. It kind of came to me today, so there's some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, anyways, so watch the feed.
Watch it. If in all case, if you're still too scared to get on a call, just keep watching here, right?
Get on the call. I'm not going to let you be soft right now. You know they need to be on the call. I know you need to be on the call. It is life-changing. So time, team, tactics, transformation. It's time to get the accelerant. It's time to throw the gas on the fire of your business and grow that. Why wait? Why wait? Another year, another month, why wait? Oh my gosh. And I love Mary over in the comments. Joe is awesome. Schedule time with Joe. Mary's phenomenal. And she's not the only one. I mean, there's so many clients that I've just heard from one recently who joined a stock market trading group because of the work that she did with Joe. She's had thousands, tens of thousands come into her life because of it. And still over a year later, she's messaging saying, I'm still seeing results because of our work together. The stuff that you do here, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So transformation, transformation, transformation. Let it support the time, team, and tactics in your business, because you can get tactics everywhere and you can hire a team and you can try and leverage your time. But if it is not aligned, meaning if you're not looking at these things clearly, right? If you're trying to make decisions with a dirty windshield, you're not making decisions that are in the best interest of yourself and your company. We've got to clear the windshield so you can choose the right path forward without guessing or rolling down the window and trying to stick your head out and be like, I think this is where we're going.
This is where we're going, right?
Right. So that's what we got for today.
Cool. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
Come back next week. We'll be here. I know last week we talked about splitting to YouTube. We'll do that, but we'll always do a dual cast for right now. Oh, yeah, I like that.
We don't have a YouTube channel set up, but maybe next week. We'll see.
We'll get over there. So it's easier to find it. Even on my business page, it's really rough to find these videos in order. So we'll make it easier to consume the content. But don't just get stuck, like Debbie said, in the content here. It's time to move past this content, right? It really is. So those who've been stalking for us this is week 15 we've been doing this. We skipped 1 week.
And I know y'all been here longer than that.
So it's time to stop lurking. It's time to really take action, like I promise. And in taking that action, even if you're scared, you're going to see massive results. So until next week, we love you guys. Thanks for joining us.
And
we'll see you later. Bye.